Hello, this is Haji J. It's Sunday, March 27th, and I wanted to give you a status update on the current state of affairs here in the Holy Land, considering the bombing last week, as well as a recap of my very beautiful weekend I spent with our new Palestinian friends and family here in the Holy Land. I'm sitting in front of a map of the Holy Land from 1962, and I thought it'd be interesting to share with you because a lot has changed since then. There's been the Six-Day War, there's been a couple of intifadas, and there's also been the construction of the infamous wall. But going back to the current state of affairs, things seem to have returned to status quo, where, of course, there are increased tensions and anxiety and a security presence, but other than that, there's been no new events or violence to speak of that I'm aware of. Of course, there has been continued action in Gaza, and in some ways, though, even though it's so close, considering how the security forces are at the borders of the Israeli-controlled areas and Palestinian-controlled areas, it seems like it's miles away because you'd have to pass through several checkpoints to get over to that part of the country. But it's also surreal to see what's happening on the news, as I'm sure you all are watching, and to feel the sense of kind of calm and peace and normalcy here in the midst of all the chaos and turmoil that is beginning to unfold all around the Middle East region, around Israel. But how calm and peaceful it seems here by comparison. Thank God. But it's surreal to be watching the news and to be hearing the commentary from the Israelis and Palestinians and their thoughts and how it's affecting them, and that we're all so close to it. Yet there's no signs of it here, really, except for, of course, the bombing last week, whether that was related or not. Anyways, so because of all this, when I was invited to spend some time out of the city with my new Palestinian friend and his family in the north, I took the opportunity to get out of the city, get some fresh air, a change of scenery, and it's very reminiscent of the Texas Hill Country. Rolling hills with exposed limestone, scrub vegetation, a variety of flora, but covered with olive groves and date palms. It was very beautiful. The hills would be speckled with, small villages, maybe made up of a couple thousand people each. There were Israeli villages we saw and drove through that were almost modeled on American neighborhoods, tract homes, very clean streets, and layouts that were reminiscent of suburbia. Arabic villages made up of Christians or Druze, and everyone seems to, in the north here, live with each other with relative harmony, even though there might be distance or separation still. I got to see in one neighborhood Lebanese children playing with Israeli children. It was a beautiful sight. It was a very beautiful sight. And people shopping in each other's neighborhoods for goods that they needed. And you didn't quite feel the same type of tension and anxiety in the north, in the Galilee area, that you do here further south and in the Holy City. But I was very blessed this weekend to have met everyone that I did and to get to know this family. The father, patriarch of the family, has been teaching Arabic as professor of Arabic and a critic of Arabic literature, has been teaching for over 40 years, currently at the university here in Jerusalem. He's also a author himself, and an award-winning author, both of poetry and prose. The matriarch, or mother, she is a retired teacher as well of children with special needs. They have 5 sons. I had met 3 of them already, and they all work together. And the law firm I had mentioned was one of the most predominant here in the Holy Land. One of the sons is a doctor, and one of the sons is also a professor of Arabic. So they have done, quite well for themselves. As with many traditional families, the extended family lives pretty close by, or much of the extended family lives pretty close by. So I was also introduced to aunts and uncles, cousins, friends of the family, and welcomed by all of them as a member of the family immediately, and made it feel very welcome. The type of hospitality that was reminiscent to me made me think of Abraham of the Old Testament. And I must say that Palestinian hospitality is hard to beat. I was being taught Arabic by the father throughout the days I was there. Talking about grammar and vocabulary and getting a real understanding of the structure and formation and foundation of the Arabic language, how lyrical it is, but then also how the vocabulary takes its origins from very action-oriented. So it's a language that can be learned well when it's paired with the word, the etymology, and the actions that give birth to the words. Also, we spend a lot of time talking about important matters, if it be life in the Holy Land, life in America, state of affairs in the Holy Land, with current struggles between Israelis and Palestinians. Talked about the church, life in the church. They're currently building a church in their village, very beautiful church based upon the plans of a famous church in Athens. Also, discussing, as we were watching the news, the current events unfolding all around us as well, and what all this might mean. And so it was a very good experience to get immersed into Palestinian culture and Christian Orthodox perspectives and topics, and let the Holy Land get under my skin a little bit more, both with the language, experiences of the family life, and of course the food. And a couple of things I should mention about it. It was all excellent. And if you can imagine a table of about 8 to 10 people sitting around it, you wouldn't find 1 inch free or open that didn't have a plate of food on it. And it was amazing, not only the flavor of all the foods, but the variety and how healthy everyone eats here. From the homemade falafel to the homemade hummus, the homemade tahini, of course the variety of different salads, fattoush, and purple cabbage salads, a variety of different ways to prepare the rice and the potatoes, roasted potatoes with carrots and spices, the rice with pine nuts and smaller vegetables with spices. Oh, it's so good. Let's see, also, of course, regular chips or French fries, pita. I could go on and on. We also, talked and compared a lot about cuisines and the difference in ways of cooking in America versus the Middle East. But it was a very good weekend to relax and get a lot of work done, as well as really get immersed in Palestinian Orthodox culture here. And very fortunate to be able to share some of this with you. And we'll roll here in a moment a clip of our drive from the main highway down to his village through some of the olive groves. Some of the trees, keep in mind that some of the trees in these olive groves that you see, some are local and native to the area, and some are from the Roman times that the Romans brought. So we're talking about olive trees that are easily 1,000 years old, still producing olives, and as they say, some of the best and most flavorful olive oil in all of the Holy Land. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to our next time together. Please continue to keep me in your prayers as I remember you at the holy sites. Thank you, and God bless. We are currently driving through the northern reaches of Galilee,
to Frismere village,
through beautiful olive groves, so reminiscent of the Texas Hill Country, except of course for all the olive trees. And they're both native olive trees and Roman olive trees from the Roman era. You can see how beautifully manicured and kept the lands are. Some of these olive trees that we're going by are several hundred years old, if not some possibly even as much as 1,000 years old.